Welcome to Truth and Transparency premiere Sunset Secrets Season 3, Episode 1. This is your double feature, Part 1, Part 2. If you happen to see Part 1 yesterday, well, you get to see it again in its entirety. So, Episode 1, I split it up into 2 days due to the holiday. Again, welcome to Truth and Transparency. Fight for a family. Let those notifications kick in. All right, guys, how we doing? Welcome, chat. Hello there, Bumblebee, Midge, JJ, Jeremiah. Hello, everyone there. The new me. Hello, guys. Yes. Hopefully everybody had a good holiday long weekend. No one's excited about going back to work, I'm sure. So, at least we can kick off the short week we have. Think about the good things. We got a short week here. The short week. Again, be kind in chat. And let's see. All right, with no more waiting, we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, Sunset Secrets. This is Season 3, Episode 1 in its entirety. It's just about a little bit over 55 minutes. So, when I create the playlist, it'll have just none of this beginning stuff will be on there. It'll just be the show, so... this is just a special for you guys. I do have the ability to stop it at any time. And you might get some side commentary, so you never know. Depends on how frisky I feel like being on this premiere. Again, please just keep in mind that, as much as I want, the truth for Sheldon, please keep in mind, Pugh's family, and I want the same for his family as well. I believe that both of these young men were a means to an end to, as far as the Rachel Del Tondo case was concerned. So, rather sad if you ask me. But Beaver County, full display. Again, welcome. Here we go. You get the editor's cut too.
Pennsylvania State Police, badge number 12433, Saturday, May 16th, 2020.
Trooper Thomas, badge number 10847, today's date, May 16th, 2020. Time is 01:24 hours and 1:24 a.m.
Welcome to Sunset Secrets Season 3, Advocating in Aliquippa.
Brandon, like I said before we started the recording, I'm just going to kind of ask you where you were coming from when you were driving up. What's the streets?
I actually don't know the name of the street.
So, for lack of better terms, we'll say driving up the hill.
Did it give you any indication anything was wrong or anything like that?
No. So where were you coming from?
I was actually coming from Rochester. I started from my address, which is the current address on my license. I'm staying with my parents.
What address is that?
853 Reno Street.
Okay.
Rochester, PA.
So why were you coming to Aliquippa or this location?
A good telephone number?
Because I was actually gonna go and chill, hang out, whatever you want to call it, with my buddies over there. The one is Preston, he's in the purple car, and the other one standing outside the police line is Gene. That's his father.
Okay, so Preston and Gene live over here?
Yes.
Okay.
They live, it's 103.
Whoopsies, that was an accident. So I pressed the wrong button, so you guys are just going to have to, excuse me on that one. My bad. Looks like you guys get me for a little bit longer. What the heck was I doing? All right, here we go. Well, that was just amazing right there. But do you guys see how crazy that is? You guys see how crazy that is that I have to do all that crap? I know, right? Let's see. I mean, these computers, they got a mind of their own. I couldn't even see what was going on. I'm over here texting Bumblebee like, hey, can you hear anything? Can you hear anything? She's like, oh yeah. Then I just was like, got on my phone and I was like, wait, that is not what's supposed to be going on right now. Not at all. All right. All right, I do apologize. It's coming. We had our bank holiday last week. That's how that works? Yes, I do. Overwrite that bitch. Yeah, so you guys get me for, another 10 minutes. I should have just said this was starting at 9. I was trying to do it at 8. I'm not going to lie. You want me to tell you guys why? Because of Mod Squad. Mod Squad has a strict schedule, and I try so hard for her. So when she gets to watch this tomorrow, she's going to be like, oh my God, Liam. So we're just going to bullshit a little bit before this begins. I will say this. I'm doing a live on the Kiehl case. I'll be flat out honest. These creators are stupid. So I just thought I'd go ahead and wreck their worlds with some logic. But that's Wednesday night at 10 o'clock on Wednesday night if you want to fall asleep to me talking about that case. So Oh, we have a birthday? Happy birthday. Yes. What's up, role playing? Happy birthday. Well, I wish I could jump out of a cake for you. But I can't. But for your birthday, I mean, I guess we can all sing for you. I could play a little jam. It's your birthday. We could just... I'm so glad you will cover. Yes. There aren't... The amount of rumors and speculation is wild. Oh, for sure. For sure. It's actually sad. You know, I couldn't... It's just... Woo. First of all, you see all this stuff going on, right? And I think it just really upsets me when you see all these creators doing nonsense, and over this one case where if all these creators would cover like other cases, imagine what could happen versus just, you know, making it a shit show. So so we have a request here. One of my favorite Beatles songs. Crafton and Kim in here? Crafton and Kim in the morning! You guys, my premiere, it's happening right now! Here comes her birthday, and I say, happy birthday. Happy birthday! We have a birthday in the house. Happy birthday there. And I say, it's your birthday. Yep. I have this uploading so you guys get the best version. I do apologize. If anybody knows me, I'm really OCD about my work. So I will see something and then I'll have to like go and, oh, I want to change that, or I want to change that. So that's actually what I was doing. And then when I did that, I didn't realize that it didn't export. So, but it's almost done. When I say almost done, you guys, it has like 70% to go. But it truly doesn't take that long. But you guys get to, you know, talk to me for a little bit. So, what? Oh God, they're making ridiculous money. They're making ridiculous money, and so since we have some time to kill, here, let me tell you something about this timeline that I think is just absurd. Let's see. So I like to pay attention to what people say to people. Also what questions are asked and what questions aren't asked. And in Kylie's situation, you know, if I have a 16-year-old daughter, I will have a 16-year-old son at some point. But my parents waited up for me when I was 16. I don't know if they did it on purpose. I don't know if, you know, but back then I didn't have a child, so I was just like, Mom, I'm fine, or, you know, whatever. But hell, if Jax was out running around, I'd be like, no way, you know? So to be able to go to sleep and wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning and be like, oh my God, my kid's not here. That to me is just, whoa. I think I would be the person that's like, okay, my kid didn't call me. They're supposed to be here around 12:45. All right, I'll give them till 1, but like, you know, you don't want to be texting them like, where are you? Because they're driving, but you're definitely going to call. So I think that calling at 1 o'clock, calling at, you know, 1 or 1:15. I think for a 16-year-old, 12:45 coming home is, I don't care if you graduated high school or not. I mean, you're still 16. It's pretty, but I just think I'd be up and I'd be calling phones. So that's the first thing. Not saying that her mom had anything to do with anything. I'm just saying that for me, I don't think I could go to bed. What is up? Bella is in the house. So is Maple Beef. We had a birthday in the house. You're going to have to rewind it if you want to hear it, though. I agree, Lana, and I saw you post that question earlier. No way could I go to sleep without my 16-year-old not home yet. Exactly. 16's young, and especially just driving. Like, whew. But I'm going to back up even, one step further. Let's talk about before, the party starts. I can't recall the last time that I've ever went to a party by myself. So going to that party, driving there alone, I'm sorry guys, but that's just, why go alone? She didn't, right? She didn't go alone. She went with her one friend, right? Okay. Well, did anybody else go with her one friend? Because I think that it wasn't just Mags that went with her, right? Is that who went with her? No, I'm leading into something, Bella. I'm leading into the fact that I don't think that she did go alone, and I don't think she just went with one person. And I think that's why somebody would have no problem leaving somebody. Was that Sammy? Yes, it was Mags. That's what I thought. So when you get to the party and you're there for 10 or 15 minutes and then this person wants to leave, people can think that's sketchy. I think that that's very, how do I want to word this? Somebody going to hook up with somebody. I'm actually just surprised, though, that they just didn't hook up at the party. Aren't 16 and 17-year-olds having sex in cars? So, or pitch a tent. I mean, aren't you in like a, I don't know, park? But yeah, I think that there's a possibility that other people went in that car. But now let's go to the I think it was 11:30. Was it 11:30 when her friend Sammy asks her for a ride? Hey, can I get a ride with you? And then she ends up not taking this ride and going with other friends. But that mysterious 12:36 phone call. So let me just pull out I want to have my sheet in front of me. Yes, I believe that I believe that more people were in that vehicle. Or else, are they going to have sex at that age? That's exactly, or someone's house. Some parents, like if they're not there, people have sex at people's houses. I would just think the car, I would just think, if you're at a park, I don't know, pitch a tent. But this is what I think is the most interesting, and I don't understand why people aren't talking about it more. It would be that last phone call at 12:36. So her phone goes off at 12:33, but yet it comes back on for that 12:36 phone call that Kylie makes, allegedly. And this is where her friend says that she's basically on 89 and heading, I want to say, wherever she's going home or whatever. I don't know if it happened like that. I don't think that she was calling to say, do you have a ride? Because wouldn't that happen a lot earlier than that? Because think about it. Think about if the lights are going off at a party at 12:20 and, things are winding down at 12:15, 12 o'clock. Why would you call somebody at 12:36? That's because you were walking around looking for her? That's not what kids do. They text each other. They're like, hey, where are you? Texting each other. How about that call could be for like, hey, can you come back and get me because I can't drive type of thing? I don't want to call my mom because she's going to kill me type of thing. Then I found out that she was going camping the next morning and had to be up bright and early to meet people at Starbucks for camping at 9 o'clock. So she went balls deep the night before she's going to go on a trip, which younger kids can bounce back a lot easier. When we get older, that hangover just kills. But that 12:36 phone call to say, oh, did you get a ride? That doesn't sound right at all. That's something that would happen a lot earlier, in my opinion. It makes more sense that that's a phone call to say, hey, can you come and pick me up? Can you come back and get me? I can't drive. That seems more along the lines of what that type of phone call would be if that phone call happened. Just because your phone goes off, my phone, I don't know what type of phone she had as far as what condition it was in, but my phone, it has so much crap in it that it'll overload and it acts funny, and then I have to shut it off, reboot it, and then it comes back. My iPhone is just, but I think a 12:36 phone call right after her phone was shut off at 12:33. People have asked me, do I think that if the phone was damaged, like if it went into the water at that point, would it say that your phone shut off? Would it show that you shut it off? How is it gonna? I don't know. I think that's gonna be able to tell you if it manually shut off or if it died. I think it has that capability. After all, it's a smartphone. So you think law enforcement isn't telling us the phone turned back on? I definitely know that law enforcement 100% does not tell everybody everything. So without a doubt, yes. Law enforcement is not going to tell you everything because it's going to preserve an investigation, especially if law enforcement caught somebody in a lie. But without that phone, there's only so much that you're going to be able to get from it without actually having the actual phone, because you can't, dump it. But I think that 12:36, her saying that she called and that they talked, versus maybe it was, the opposite way. She called her versus her calling her. But at the end of the day, I see that being a phone call to say, hey, I need a ride. I don't know how you can be confused at the time when your phone tells it to you. There's no way to be confused of your phone. Your phone tells you a time. And then let's say that you had so many phone calls that it wasn't in your log anymore. Well, that's what cell phone records are for. So, Yep. So, I also think if her car would have went in right away, shame on the dive team that I think never went in. When they said they searched it, I don't see anybody. I don't see anybody with accurate information that says that for sure a dive team went in versus just flying a drone over it. But for as close as that car SUV was to the water's edge, it's very interesting to me that it wouldn't have been found immediately. And I think that that's the reaction that you saw the guys get. What if you did a update and a restart? I think that's it. Like I said, they didn't have her phone. So without her phone, they're not going to be able to tell if it was a manual shut off. They're not going to know any of that without the phone. They're just going to be able to tell that that's the last time it pinged. That's all that tells you. So to say that her phone shut off, I don't even know how they would know that without, they might be going off of a Life 360 app to say that it disconnected from data and Wi-Fi. But without the phone, you're not going to know any of that. You're going to only know cell towers. You're not going to know if somebody manually shut your phone off. But if you had the phone, I think you would. In my opinion. Phone can stay in water for 30 minutes. Sure. I think all of that's subject to possibilities. Can it stay in water for 30 minutes? That's a possibility. that's what it says it does. It doesn't mean that it has to. I think all that it's going to probably depend on the condition of the phone. Yes, her Life 360 was supposedly turned off earlier, as in disconnected. Well, that would tell me that she wasn't honest with her mom on where she was going, which even leads me more to believe that people were in that car that probably shouldn't have been in the car. Again, I'm just a logical person. There's more missing than what we got. Truth wins on the Watts case, in my opinion. Yep, absolutely, Bumblebee. Do you think this recovery is suspicious? I don't necessarily think the recovery is suspicious. I just think that law enforcement, I mean, just because they're police officers doesn't mean they're a dive team. I don't think that I just don't think that they got in and searched it. I don't. Or whatever they would call searching. I mean, if they can, for as close as it was, it either tells me if someone's going to say, like, yeah, you should have seen that. It would have only been 8 feet down based on how tall the car is, maybe 9. And for you not to be able to see that right there, I mean, that's where you should be searching. I mean, how far do you think the car would go? I mean, once it goes in the water, it's going to go down. Love your logic, need it here. Yeah, logic is all day. Well, I just think that once you do logic, then you can eliminate. So for me, I wouldn't be checking. What I think was suspicious about all that is that somebody's at Walmart and then all of a sudden this Nick guy comes up and talks about all of that. That to me is suspicious. Why wasn't Nick with the authorities? Why wouldn't he be demanding that his work turn over? Oh my God, I was with that girl, but you're going to happen to be at a Walmart. They're at a Walmart. So it could have been one of those situations that law enforcement wasn't listening to the tip. But I think that law enforcement would listen to video and audio. Especially when you say those words, video and audio. Hey, my tow truck has video and audio, and I'm telling you, I towed that girl's car. Or not towed it, but I came and brought the battery, and I don't know how that wouldn't seem a credible, tip. Especially if you walked your happy ass up into the police station. Law enforcement has the video and audio. Well, that's what they say. If people believe law enforcement to a T what they tell you, then you're a fool. Law enforcement is allowed to lie to you. Law enforcement is allowed to tell you whatever they want. And they should. An investigation where you believe that foul play is involved, well, let's weed out some people. Hi, Boston. Hi, love. You're going to make it. I think law enforcement stating that in writing it to the public that 19,000 man-hours used for a search is suspicious. Well, let's do some math here. How many people do you think they had searching? I mean, how many people make up that, county as far as even officers? But you're saying that each person, 19,000, I would do the math to figure that out. And I just think it's just sad. It's sad because if Kylie wasn't a blonde hair, blue-eyed girl, do you think that this would all be happening? And the answer is no. The answer is no. And that's what pisses me off the most. Is that, what drew everybody to want to go look for this person versus, going and looking for somebody else. And I think it's mainstream media. But they brought in people from other counties. Yes, they did. But Boston's sick. She doesn't feel well. They definitely brought in other people from other counties. That's normally what you do. The video and audio does sound so suspect. Why not just say recorded video versus video and audio? I mean, tow truck guy is wearing a mic. I think what's interesting about the whole video that they did and about everything like that is, I mean, they had a camera crew with them, which I'm sure they bring everywhere, right? And it's just like, wouldn't law enforcement like be with them when they did it? I don't know. I would just think that law enforcement, like, call the authorities. What do you mean call the authorities? Like, if you knew that they're coming to search, wouldn't you be there to, like, be with them? That's what I would just think. Like, okay, here, well, if you've already spent 19,000 hours, I'm sure we can send out, you know, a couple dudes to be with these couple dudes, you know? So I was just really, really surprised that law enforcement wasn't with them while they were, I guess, searching. Let's go back to that night and people saying that kids aren't coming forward, no one's talking. Well, you got to count all the days that went by before, if people were coming from all over to go to that party and they don't know her. So go back and see when it would have even been like something to consider, like, you know, that this girl's missing. Who is this girl? And then again, when you're a blonde hair, blue eyed girl and a lot of people look, you know, like that, she's going to have to stick out. So I'm glad that Boston, I know that she hasn't been feeling well. Love you. Yeah, so yeah, I would want to count how many days had gone by. And as far as, I wouldn't tell my kid to talk to anybody without a lawyer present. So, but we're going to still like cooperate, but we're going to do it through our lawyer. Just because of how police are. I mean, your kid says one wrong thing and then guess what's going to happen? All eyes on them. Look at everybody. Jagger went on the news and everyone's like, he's guilty. I mean, Jesus. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. So, we are talking about Kylie. Yep, I'm waiting for something to upload. So while I was waiting for something to upload. Oh, export completed. It's there, it's ready. All right. So yeah. We all love you, Boston. All we do is think about Boston every day. I know Boston got me sick. We were making out last night. Shh, don't tell anybody. I just think if you go back to the drawing board with Logic, and that's what I'm going to do on Wednesday night, is go to the drawing board with Logic. And anybody that sells a 16-year-old, that they say the words goodbye, I don't buy that. You don't ever tell your friends at 16 goodbye. You say things like, all right, peace out, all right, so you didn't, nope, you haven't messed anything yet. We're about to do it now. You say, later, babe, like you're just not, you don't, I told her goodbye. That's a goodbye. You don't do that. You say things like, as a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, you're saying things like, call me later, babe, or I'll text you later. You know, you're not like goodbye. So I think that word goodbye is a very, very interesting word to use. But yeah. But I go back to that 1236 phone call. And if that phone call really did happen, that is a call to say, I can't find my car, or I can't find my keys. Do you have my keys? You know, like I can't drive. I'm totally not okay to drive. Can you come back here? Can you please pick me up? I don't know what type of relationship she has with her mom, but something that my parents made very, very clear to me is that I have a green pass if I would have called them and said, I need you to come pick me up. That was a no questions asked. It was no trouble. You call because we don't want anything to happen to you. And we don't want you to getting into a car with somebody else that's been driving or drinking. So it was very like, you know, don't be naive, parents. Be, you know, your kids are going to do some things. Make sure that they can count on you. I don't think kids should be afraid of their parents. I think that's not a good thing. All right. So yeah, join me on Wednesday night if you want to break down some logic. Here we go, guys. Ready? Hope you guys enjoy it. Any questions before we start? Because I'm just letting it play through. So I'm sure Boston has a ton of questions, but she can't. She's... Man, my schedule is so off. I know. All that fish, girl, I'm sure you're just fishing it out. I was born ready. All right, JJ's ready. It's game time.
Pennsylvania State Police, badge number 12433. It's Saturday, May 16th, 2020.
It's Trooper Thomas, badge number 10847. Today's date, May 16th, 2020. Time is 0124 hours and 124 a.m.
Welcome to Sunset Secrets Season 3, Advocating in Aliquippa.
Brandon, like I said before we started the recording, I'm just going to kind of ask you where you were coming from when you were driving up. What's the street? I actually don't know the name of the street. So, for lack of better terms, we'll say driving up the hill. Did it give you any indication of anything right off or anything like that? Route 51. So, where were you coming from?
I was actually coming from Rochester. I started from my address, which is the current address on my license. I'm staying with my parents.
What address is that?
853 Reno Street.
Okay.
Rochester, PA.
So, why were you coming to Aliquippa over this location?
Because I was actually gonna go and chill, hang out, whatever you want to call it, with my buddies over there. The one is Preston, he's in the purple car, and the other one standing outside the police line is Gene. That's his father.
Okay, so Preston and Gene live over here?
Yes.
Okay.
They live, it's 103.
Were you at home?
Yes.
Okay. So, kind of walk me through what happens.
Okay. Now, my son and I just got back from Sharon, PA.
Okay.
About 11:30. And my wife had eaten dinner, got in her shower, and was going to bed.
Okay.
My son and I stepped out on the porch, and it was, ballpark figure around midnight. And we heard multiple shots. I mean, it sounded like about 10 of them.
Yeah, 51, and then right up here. I
Could
came
you
around the bend.
could you sense like what
I didn't know
direction
the
they were
time,
coming
but
from,
when they asked
or?
me, I was thinking in my head it had to be between 11:35 and 11:40. Well, it turns out I called police at 11:39.
11:39. Okay.
Yeah.
Was there anybody else at the scene whenever you got here?
No.
When you were coming up the street, did you see anybody walking away? Did you pass any other cars?
No.
Okay.
No. There was nobody. I just expected to come like every other night, come right around the bend, or go up and go home. That's it. You know.
Okay.
It very much surprised me to see somebody laying in the road. I don't know, what did he do? I thought, well, maybe it's wet. He could have slipped and hit his head. He could have been drunk, or he might have got hit by a car. I couldn't tell, but I have this little flashlight I take out of my pocket. And I said, oh shucks, he's bleeding, you know. But when I looked closer, it was like blood was running out of his ear. I tapped my leg like that, you know. So I immediately called.
Okay.
I had to call him. I called apparently Aliquippa down here within about 30 seconds of getting out of my van.
Okay. So, I mean, basically, where your van's parked at right now, just past the body, is that where you stopped at? Did you move the car at all after?
They did, yeah. They moved it up.
Who did?
When I came in, my lights hit him. As soon as that hit him, I went across enough in case traffic came down the hill so nobody could run him over.
And who moved the vehicle?
One of the officers down there.
Okay.
They asked me if they could. I said, sure.
All right. So you see the body, pull your car into the middle of the road, you get out, you went over, you said you nudged his leg to see if he'd wake up?
Well, I said, oh no, this is bad. I go, what? So he wasn't moving, he wasn't saying anything. And I walked beyond and I just tapped him on his right leg, like that. And I hadn't even noticed all the blood on the road. I thought that was just like water.
Okay.
Well, I shine a light on it, I go, oh no, it was thick.
Yeah.
So when I called, I said, I really think he's dead, to be honest with you, because it's just too much damage, you know.
Yeah. And while you were down there, other than his leg, did you touch anything else?
No.
Did you move any of his clothing? Nothing like that?
Nothing.
Okay. And it looks like there might be a cell phone next to the body. You didn't touch that at all?
No.
That
I saw that.
That's where it was sitting at?
It was laying just like that, face down in the river there of blood.
All right. And how long do you think it was until the other gentleman showed up here?
I would have to say, after I called the police, he showed up probably. The car came around the bend about 30 seconds after I hung up with the police.
Okay.
It was a very short call. And as I was waiting for somebody to come, they said they wouldn't be long. And this car came around and I was flagging my light at him so he wouldn't maybe try to get around my van.
Mm-hmm.
But he said, we know about it. Because the other guy said he drove up the hill to his friends and then he said, we got to go back and see if he's dead, you know. Because he thought the guy was dead.
Okay.
The guy laying on the road. I did not. I thought he got hit by a car.
Gotcha. And who was the one that was saying that to you, that he already went past it once?
The one that already went past it is a red-bearded...
The red-bearded one. Okay. So that's his vehicle, as far as you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he said it was. He said it was. I didn't realize. I thought when he said he ran up the hill, I thought he was on foot.
Okay.
But no, it was his car. He just shot up the hill for, I guess he needed more eyes or something. Maybe he was scared of the dark. I have no idea.
Okay. But he basically just said that he saw it, ran up there, got his buddies, and they came back. So all three of them showed back up.
Yes, because when I was trying to slow them down, make sure they didn't run him over, they said, nah, we already know. He told us.
Okay. And when they got on scene, did they touch anything? Did they check the body?
No.
No, they never got close to it at all?
They did not.
Okay.
Because where I was standing when I stopped them, that's as far as they went.
Okay.
And I was uphill from the body, too.
Did anybody else show up other than paramedics and the firefighters, anything like that? Nobody else that you saw?
No. And they got here right quick. I don't think it was as many as 2 minutes. 2 full minutes they were probably up here.
Okay. And have you ever seen him before, the victim?
No, I don't believe I ever have.
Okay. How long do you think you've been down in the area?
I think I've been on the street for close to 5 years.
Okay.
Maybe 4 years anyways.
So you work at the airport and then just drive back on the weekends?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I started out, well, since I came here, it's all driving because flights weren't easy. I used to fly back and forth, you know.
Okay.
And, keep a car each place. And finally, after renting once, I said, no, I could buy a house here for $7,000, so I did.
There you go. Is there anything else that you think would be pertinent to the investigation? Anything I should know? Anything I may not have asked?
No, it's just that I was sad. It's a quiet neighborhood. I thought it was quiet anyways.
Yeah.
You can hear a pin drop. I mean, in the summertime, kids walk around the block, but I'm on Jones Street, you know. So I just figured, because there was a guy, his name was Bill, and Bill used to walk up the hill, and I'd always coming around here at 11:30ish. Bill, you want to ride? Because he's coming from one of the bars or something.
Okay.
Very pleasant man. He passed away some years ago. When he'd jump in, I'd give him a ride to his house, you know.
Yeah.
I thought this was one of them, you know.
Yeah.
They just going up the hill. But, I mean, my other guy was my neighbor. I knew him, you know. And,
I mean, obviously you're driving this road pretty often at the same time every night. Have you ever seen anybody else consistently other than Bill?
No, but there's seasonally in the summer, it's not uncommon to see somebody walking up and down this hill around after dark, you know, say 10:30, 11. But I'm a first shift guy, but on Fridays I work an extra shift for another guy who wants off, you know. So I make the extra money.
Yeah.
So on a Friday I come up later, and I wasn't surprised to see somebody walking, perhaps. I was surprised to see somebody laying down.
Okay.
And my first thought was, the son of a gun's probably drunk and he's sleeping on the road. Then I thought, well, I knew he was damaged. I go, he must have got hit by a car.
Welcome to Season 3, Sunset Secrets. During this season, the investigation of the homicide of Tyric Pugh will be on full display, pointing out the errors, pointing out the discrepancies, and most of all, bringing to light all the evidence that would have easily proven to be and provide jury members with a reasonable doubt as to the innocence or guilt of Sheldon Jeter Jr. when it came to the murder of Tyric Pugh. The state provided no motive for Sheldon Jeter Jr. to kill a long-time acquaintance and quote-unquote family member of the Moreland household. Season 1 followed the actual trial in 2021. Season 2 went back to 2001 and talked about the Jamie Brown case and showing similarities with investigations being derailed and purposefully led in a different direction. Season 3 now will show the state's case and how they went about investigating, or lack thereof, of leads with witnesses, contradicting statements, the crime scene,
there's a neighbor. Now you said
search
something about a
warrants,
jury. What were you talking about? The jury that lives by
questionable photos,
that was just
and most importantly, the vehicle that Sheldon Jeter Jr. was driving that evening, as well as surveillance cameras and the authenticity of time stamps on those surveillance cameras. Everything surrounding Tyric Pugh's homicide relies heavily on surveillance cameras and 4 witnesses that eventually ended up at the crime scene that evening. Aliquippa, Pennsylvania is home to about 9,000 residents. And one of those residents, who was a part-time resident living on Jones Street, was the 911 caller the night of May 15th, 2020.
It is in Aliquippa. I wish I knew the name of this road, but when you get off 51, and you go down Franklin, you make your first left and go right up the hill. Right up the hill. Immediate left off of Franklin Avenue once you came off 51. That is correct. Okay, and what's going on there? It looks like a man got hit by a car. He's not in good shape. I don't even know if he's alive. Okay, you're right there in that sharp bend? Yes. Yes, there's blood all over the road. It's thick and clotting. I don't think he's alive. Are you still there? Yeah, I'm still here. We're getting everybody sent up there. Can I have your name, please? Joseph Richardson. Responding area 246 Kiehl Street, 246 Kiehl. It said the sharp bend by Kiehl Street Hill. A male down on the ground appears to be struck by a vehicle. Unresponsive, severe bleeding. Copy, Connie.
Again, there was only 2 officers that responded from Aliquippa. That would be Bitts, the 509 badge, and then Trello, the 508 badge. They were the only 2 dispatched. They arrived on scene. But when PSP and the first 2 arrivals for PSP arrive, let's take a look at their report of when they arrive, because that's what begins the crime scene log. The crime scene log. It should also be noted that the 911 caller stated that within 2 minutes, they were there really quick. Within 2 minutes, there was, somebody there, an officer there. Well, according to the reports, Officer Bitts was there within 30 seconds. Pennsylvania State Police, better known to everybody as PSP in Aliquippa, PSP has to take over all major investigations due to the fact that Aliquippa, Pennsylvania's police department, Aliquippa PD, has been suspended. They're under probation. They are not allowed to be doing any major crimes alone. That is something that happened before the Rachel Del Tondo case in 2018, and it has continued on. Aliquippa Police Department has always been under the scrutiny of corruption. And this case would be no different. Officer, or I should say Trooper, Trimbetta would be the first PSP arriving officer on scene that evening, and he arrived with Trooper Smith. They were dispatched to the area of 246 Kiehl Street to assist with a deceased male in the roadway. Upon arrival on scene, and at that time it would have been 5:16 because it was after midnight, they said they arrived approximately at 12:06 a.m. Members of the Aliquippa Police Department advised that they had corridored off the crime scene with yellow crime scene tape. Members of the Aliquippa Police Department, members of the Aliquippa Fire Department, as well as 4 civilians were observed within the yellow tape. The deceased male in the roadway was observed to have multiple gunshot wounds. I also observed a burgundy Kia Sorento bearing Pennsylvania registration plates of this, and a silver Chrysler Town and Country minivan bearing the Pennsylvania temporary registration plates of this. They were both within the crime scene tape when they arrived. I then started a crime scene entry log. All persons within the crime scene tape were identified and logged on the crime scene entry log. I maintained the crime scene entry log throughout the entire course of this incident. And this would be the first PSP report done by Trombetta, as he and Smith were the first arriving officers at 12:06 a.m. This Pennsylvania State Police crime scene entry log would prove everything in this case as far as the first gathering of the evidence at Two Cousins convenience store on Franklin Avenue, as well as the names of everybody that went inside that yellow tape. After Sheldon's trial, I took a glance at that, and I noticed Andrew Galletti, police officer of Aliquippa, Pennsylvania, Department, Aliquippa PD. 11:43 was inside and at the crime scene at 11:43. That is when Alex Bitts, as well as Trillo, that's the time that they say that they are arriving. The only problem is that Andrew Galletti was not dispatched. How was Andrew Galletti, police officer for Aliquippa Department, as well as Bitts and Trello, how is he now part of the PD that's inside that tape? And noting that he was there at 11:43 p.m. within 1 minute of Officer Bitts, at the same time as Trello, but within a minute or two of the 911 call. Further look into the crime scene log entry, it would become apparent that Police Chief Lang was there at the same time as Trombetta, both marking down that they were there at 12:06. And then Trooper Daniel Smith being marked down at first at 12:10 a.m., which got switched to 12:06. But Trooper Daniel Smith's name isn't till all the way at the bottom of page 1. And also, Trooper Daniel Smith had put down 0010, which is 12:10, only for that to be crossed off and added as 0006. Also, Chief Lane had 00, a weird 0, and then a weird 6. Okay, as it looks like it was written over again because it was a different number. And then Trooper Trombetta, when you look closely here, you're going to be able to see that he also wrote down 0010. For whatever reason, these were changed to 0006. With the big question mark of us, why would Trooper Daniel Smith's name be so far down if he arrived and was one of the first people of PSP? So it would be the first 4 witnesses as they have it. Then it would be there's 3 PD, Aliquippa Police Department. Then they have fire. Then they have the chief from Aliquippa Police Department. Then we start getting into the troopers from PSB, McGeary, Broader, Thomas, Miller. Crime scene entry log. Not only does when you come into the crime scene, but then when you leave the crime scene. As you are supposed to clock, when someone's in, when someone's out, to keep a very accurate log. Also, you are given when you start your crime scene log, you are also given instructions to keep the first responding officer checklist. And that would be things like note the date and time of arrival at scene, note weather and lighting conditions, begin crime scene entry log, Once inside the crime scene area, note description and license plate numbers of all vehicles in the crime scene. Identify all persons at the crime scene. Request that they stay. If possible, ensure they stay separated, okay, until enough information relative to their knowledge of the incident is obtained. So again, what happened before PSP arrived? You have PSP arriving at 12:06, allegedly a.m., but you got 4 witnesses allegedly at that crime scene when Aliquippa police arrive, and that would have been 11:42. So over that 25 plus minutes, where were these witnesses? Were they separated? What did Aliquippa Police Department do before the arrival of PSP? It should be noted that Aliquippa Police Department was not responsible for a single report that went into the discovery of this case. So none of those first responding officers before the PSP arrived had any reports, wrote anything. In fact, on the checklist of what you're supposed to do is item number 22 is, determine who had entered the crime scene prior to your arrival. Persons discovering the crime, medical fire personnel, note their agency affiliation and obtain their names and vital status. You're supposed to obtain then a brief description of what they saw or heard. So this responding officer should have immediately, in my opinion, obtained these immediately. 12:06 arrival time. You're going to find out what they heard, saw. During your interviews, ensure the persons present at the scene prior to your arrival are separated during these interviews. Determine if the person present at the scene moved or disturbed or cleaned anything. Lights turned on or off, doors opened or closed. This was obviously an outside scene. And as we heard the report just a minute ago, this officer said that there were 2 cars inside that crime scene. Were there any vehicles turned on or off, glass swept or blood wiped up? And also the reason why, if there was a reason why, if anything was moved, disturbed or cleaned, you have to state the reason why something would have been moved. In this situation, this officer says that vehicle, there was 2 of them inside that crime scene. When the crime scene photos are taken, there is only 1 vehicle inside the tape. The van of the 911 caller was moved out of the crime scene tape, not by the 911 caller that owns that vehicle. And not a single officer mentioned this, except when the witness mentioned it, that the vehicle was moved in his interview. It should be noted that all 4 of those witnesses were not interviewed on tape until after 1:15 in the morning.
Number 10847, today's date, May 16th, 2020. Time is 01:24 hours and 1:24 a.m. Trooper Thomas, badge number 10847. Today's date's May 16th, 2020. Time is 01:14 hours.
Another checklist that you must complete is the crime scene checklist. And this would have been done by Trooper Max DeLuca. The scene is outdoor, located on Kiehl Street between Highland Avenue and William Street. You're going to be checking different boxes. The arrival time was 2 o'clock that he put DeLuca when he was doing this. He noted the weather at the scene. the scene was investigated without a search warrant due to it being on a public roadway. I was briefed upon arrival by Sergeant Fenella. The scene was examined for fingerprints, footprints, blood, hair, fibers, and soil. The victim was located on Kiehl Street in the south travel lane, down the hill travel lane. The victim was laying on his back with his feet pointed downhill. There was no indication that the body had been moved or attempts made to conceal the body. The victim was found on Kiehl Street. Kiehl Street is a public roadway and accessible to the general public. The victim has a surgical face mask resting on his chin below his mouth. The mask was consistent with Pennsylvania guidelines for citizens in public settings due to the coronavirus pandemic. It is believed the face mask belonged to the victim. There were no signs the body was staged. There was a large amount of blood at the scene. It is unknown if any of the blood can be attributed to the actor or all belongs to the victim. There was no indication of any foreign material being brought to the scene. A firearm was used in the commission of this crime, but no firearms were located at the scene. Brandon was the first person to report seeing the victim's body in the street. The victim had no relationship with Brandon. Again, Kiehl Street is a public roadway and maintained by the city of Aliquippa, therefore no search warrants were needed. The victim was located on a section of Kiehl that had no exterior lighting. No firearms were located at the scene. 7 spent shell casings were collected from the scene. They included 4 Federal casings and 3 Winchester casings. No drugs were located at the scene. No writings, no drawings were located at the scene. The extended area around the scene was searched. Video surveillance was obtained from residents and businesses in the area. Where the videos were obtained will be documented in attached homicide action reports. The scene was secured, and spectators were prohibited from scene access. Beaver County coroner arrived on scene at about 2 a.m. Refer to the crime scene log entry. No EMS personnel were on scene when I arrived. No firearms were located at the scene. The scene was outdoors and the weather was warm with sporadic rainfall. The temperatures were in the 70s in the evening and dropped to the low 50s overnight. The scene was photographed and documented by PSP FSU unit. Refer to the FSU reports for measurements and distance. All law enforcement material was collected. The scene was released on 5/16 at 3:33 a.m. It should be noted that on the crime scene log, DeLuca arrives at 1:34 a.m. Also, the crime scene checklist was completed in a typed up report not until June 16th, 2020, which would be exactly 1 month after Sheldon Jeter Jr. was arrested. How could Sheldon Jeter Jr. be arrested in less than 24 hours for this homicide when there is no investigation prior to his arrest? And you will see with dates of reports, dates of going to speak with witnesses, but ultimately it's the dates that surround any type of investigation into this case is where the huge question mark is on how are you arresting somebody without investigating anything. The night of Tyric Pugh's homicide, Aliquippa was there. They brought PSP in. They had fire medic. They then called in the coroner. They had the crime scene, FSU, to take the pictures. So all of this was going on from the moment that PSP arrived, things started to take action. And then I thought about it, and it wasn't right as PSP arrived. It was when certain troopers arrived. And that would be troopers McGeary, Miller, Broughton, Thomas. An incident report is going to be the report that explains everything. This is what happened that night. And PSP Trooper McGeary was the one in charge of writing up the incident report. And your incident report is going to have information that talks about your victim, talks about if you have a possible suspect, and that would be, your perp, the accused. There's going to be a description of your scene, the location. There's going to be a synopsis. There's going to be a part for, physical evidence. And then it comes into investigative details. And Trooper McGeary noted the following, that Officer Bitts was the first officer on scene and arrived at approximately 11:43 p.m. It was immediately apparent to Officer Bitts that the individual was deceased and was observed as having multiple gunshot wounds. The Aliquippa Police Department requested the assistance of the Pennsylvania State Police in the investigation and all the responsibilities of the homicide investigation. The scene was secured by Aliquippa Police and PSP. A perimeter was set, and the Pennsylvania State Police Troop D Major Case Team was activated and responded to conduct the criminal investigation into the death of the unknown male who would later be identified as Tyric Pugh. On May 15th at approximately 11:50 p.m., Pennsylvania State Police Troop D Beaver Criminal Investigation Unit Supervisor Corporal Michael Miller was the one that contacted McGeary, advising him of the incident and assigned McGeary to respond to the scene. Just after midnight, at approximately 12:34 a.m., McGeary arrived on scene and was briefed by first responding Aliquippa officer Alex Bitts, as well as Trooper Trombetta and Trooper Smith. So, no mention of Galletti from Aliquippa and no mention of Trello from Aliquippa. McGeary observed the scene on an uphill sharp curve in the roadway of Kiehl Street. The scene was secured by police tape, police vehicles, and other emergency vehicles. Trooper Trombetta was maintaining the crime scene entry log and first responder checklist. Trooper Smith advised me, McGeary, that there are 4 individuals on the other side of the crime scene waiting to be interviewed by investigators. Trooper Smith also advised that there has been a tent placed over the deceased due to slight rainy weather conditions, and upon Smith's arrival, there was a silver van parked near the deceased body but has since been pulled up a short distance on Kiehl Street. Officers on scene were not able to identify the deceased with the information thus far. Upon McGeary's initial approach to the scene, he observed the deceased male lying face up on Kiehl Street with his feet pointing down the hill. Multiple empty pistol shell casings were observed near the body, and the male appeared to have multiple gunshot wounds to the head. Blood was observed flowing from the body down Kiehl Street. While on scene, the 4 individuals who were later located on scene upon Aliquippa Police Department's arrival were properly identified and interviewed. Brandon, Eugene, Dwayne, and Joseph. Those interviews revealed the following. Brandon discovered the body first, but then continued up the Kiehl Street Hill, where he would pick up 2 other individuals, Eugene and Dwayne. While Brandon was picking these individuals up, Joseph discovered the body and contacted 911. Brandon, Dwayne, and Eugene then returned to the scene where they observed Joseph, where he had advised them that he had contacted 911. The scene was processed by Trooper D Forensic Services Unit on May 16, 2020. During processing, the deceased male was identified as Tyric Pugh, with an address of 127 Orchard Street, Aliquippa. Via his Pennsylvania photo identification was located in his wallet. Through investigative efforts, it was determined that Sheldon Jeter did intentionally kill Tyric Pugh.
Pennsylvania State Police, badge number 12433, Saturday, May 16th, 2020.
It's Trooper Thomas, badge number 10847. Today's date, May 16th, 2020. Time is 0124 hours and 124 a.m.
Welcome to Sunset Secrets Season 3, Advocating in Aliquippa.
Brandon, like I said before we started the recording, I'm just going to kind of ask you.
Street Hill, where he would pick up two other individuals, Eugene and Dwayne. While Brandon was picking these individuals up, Joseph discovered the body and contacted 911. Brandon, Dwayne, and Eugene then returned to the scene where they observed Joseph, where he had advised them that he had contacted 911. The scene was processed by Trooper D Forensic Services Unit on May 16, 2020. During processing, the deceased male was identified as Tyric Pugh, with an address of 127 Orchard Street, Aliquippa. Via his Pennsylvania photo identification was located in his wallet. Through investigative efforts, it was determined that Sheldon Jeter did intentionally kill Tyric Pugh. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. I'm fixing this, so it's coming up. Sorry about that. Looks like you guys get me for a little bit. That's where part 1 ended for you guys. So, and I was an idiot, and I didn't add part 2 that was already done. So I just completed it. So I do apologize. I thought it was the trolls, the hackers that are around me. So, oh well, when it does upload all by itself, and in the playlist, it'll have the whole episode, all 56 minutes all together. So again, looks like you get to chat with me. Yeah, I could actually talk to you guys about Trombetta. Oh, not that guy. You want to Google this guy, Nick, and then use the last name. That it was definitely not on your end. It was on my end. So, oh boy. In fact, I'll share so that other people can see something. I can also fill you guys in on a couple things that I'm going over with episode 1 here. I keep on zooming over that white patch. That's actually a dry patch, is what that is. That's a dry patch. And it's because that's where the alleged van was at. So it should have been actually it should have stayed in the crime scene, and it should be photographed. But it was never photographed because they moved it. But they moved it, after enough time that it at least, while it was raining, underneath your vehicle, it's going to be dry. So that white patch there is you're going to see when we do the follow-up for the questions. But that white patch that you see, it's a dry patch because the ground's wet. So everything around that is all wet. Under the body, it was dry. So the reason they put that tent over was to try to preserve, any evidence and things of that nature because it was, raining. Well, why isn't there any dry patches under where Brandon Wexler's vehicle was? So, and that's because it wasn't there yet. It's because when it arrived, at 12:06 a.m. and it had already rained. But the cops' vehicles, they're all dry underneath, and the alleged van that's allegedly Joe Richardson's, which conveniently moves out of the crime scene to not be photographed, and then also conveniently the 911 caller, who Joe Richardson is, he conveniently, his call traces back to Baden, Pennsylvania, which is, a good 10-15 minutes away. So, yes, was anybody checked for gunpowder residue? Yes, you're going to see that as the episodes go on, but yes, Sheldon was checked and he passed. He had no gunpowder on his hands. Alex Bitts moved the vehicle, allegedly this guy's vehicle, which was the van. And not only did he move that vehicle, but then he also moved Sheldon's that night. So he moved this vehicle at approximately 1:32, allegedly, somewhere around that area. I'm sorry, I do apologize. Before 1:14 a.m. It was before 1:14. And then he moved Sheldon's SUV. He got in it and drove it away at around 5 o'clock a.m. Yeah, I'm going to pull that up right now so you guys can see. So you guys know Rachel Del Tondo. Well, here you go. Trombetta's dad, I think, there we go, family member, started up that cyber PA school that Rachel Del Tondo worked at, and he, just months after Rachel's death, July 24th is when this, article is, but 5 years after a grand jury indicted Nick Trombetta on charges of tax evasion and conspiring the founder and former CEO of Pennsylvania Cyber Charter School, that is where Rachel Del Tondo worked, was sentenced to 20 months in federal prison, ending a saga that saw Trombetta fall from education pioneer to convicted felon. It was something, I think, $8 million. There we go. Yep, 8 mil. That's what I thought. 8 mil. And so again, Rachel Del Tondo, that's where she worked. And I believe Nick had a hand in helping her get a job there, if I'm not mistaken. Him and Frankie Katropa know each other. And, I mean, everybody knows everybody, right? Small world. Small world. I do apologize for this delay. But you guys are just learning some side notes over here. So yeah, hopefully everybody's had an amazing long weekend. Yeah, it's crazy. So many criminals all around us. Unbelievable how you connect the dots. That's what so many don't do. He was Aliquippa Elementary principal in the late 1990s. Well, there you go. Someone's hopping in, throwing up some change. Sidebar us, Lana. Oh, I'm sidebarring. Yeah, this was just months though, right? I mean, Rachel's murder was in May, and then that ended there in July, so of 2018. Again, these grand juries that, happen left and right. I guess Pennsylvania is known for them. Interesting. He was Aliquippa's elementary principal in the late 1990s. Yeah. Again, also give credit where credit's due, though. Trooper Montana. Drugged somebody out of a car that was on fire. So, go ahead and show you this. So again, that was Nick. That was Nick, so that was not the trooper that is the one that siphoned the 8 mil. But, and then this is, Montana.
I'm not just the CEO. I'm the Chief Everything Officer. With Office Depot Office Max, I can design and create.
Trooper Montana Trombetta, who works here at the Beaver County State Police Barracks, pulled a man from a car that caught on fire just moments before it was filled with flames. Interstate 376 East, a busy highway known as the Parkway and known for heavy traffic. That's where Pennsylvania State Trooper Montana Trombetta rescued a man from a car that filled with flames in Findlay Township. He says the car was pinned against a barrier, a man trapped inside.
I asked him to bring his knees to his chest, and that's whenever I grabbed his feet and moved him into the passenger seat, and that's whenever I extricated him out of the vehicle.
He says before the fire sparked, Jeremy Haffenden rammed into the back of his cruiser in a construction zone. Trombetta slowed down to help another car with its hazard lights on in an emergency pull-off area. He says it was a shock when the car crashed into his cruiser.
I went to pull in front of that disabled motorist. I went on my turn signal, and that was when I was struck by an intoxicated driver.
Trombetta says toxicology reports are pending against the Bridgeville man, and he had to be taken to the hospital for a head injury. No word on his condition. Trooper Trombetta has only been on the job for 6 months, but says his training kicked in.
The state police tries to prepare you for whatever you might encounter on the road.
Coming up at 11, you'll hear what was going on in his mind when he made that heroic rescue. Reporting in Beaver County, Chandy Chapman, Pittsburgh's I
wonder what was going through his mind when he didn't do his report right. Just curious. So, also Mr. Montana, he is known to be pulling people over for DUIs. So be careful. He was awarded, what was it? He made some awards. Let's see. Again, I'm just waiting for this to finish up. Here we go. 3 Beaver County law enforcement personnel win DUI top. I mean, talk about something to brag about here. Just woo. Didn't realize you got awards for this. But, you know. Let's see. There we go. The Pennsylvania Driving Under the Influence Association recently awarded 55 police personnel members across the state the DUI Top Gun Award. This was in November of 2021. The awards in its 24th year are given to personnel to recognize their efforts to get impaired drivers off of state roadways. In Beaver County, 3 personnel members were given that award. They were Hopewell Police Department Officer Brandon Fedorica, Troopers Montana Trombetta and Nathaniel, Wetzel from Pennsylvania State Police Troop D. Troop D, got to keep in with the Troop Ds. For winning the award, Fedorica won a portable breath test equipment for the department to use. Yay! That's kind of cool. That's awesome. Amazing. All right, so they're passing out breathalyzers, and I bet you he is liked well-round. Yep. You know, I think he was a big-time wrestler. I know he coached wrestling, and he's a good-looking man. He's got some muscle, too. So, any single ladies out there want a trooper in their bedroom, holler at Montana. Woo, woo, Idaho, you Montana. Idaho, you Montana. I wonder if he's heard that a couple times. So, all right. We should be good to go. Oh, almost. Wow. Great job, Lana. Whoop. Way past my bedtime. Awards? Name on awards. Well, I won't say that he's lied and cheated. I will just say that he was the first person there at 12:06 allegedly, and I know that checklist, you're supposed to be doing some stuff, and you can hear the witnesses talk about how they all know each other basically, and they know the one guy knows that he's saying, oh yeah, the buddy came down here, went back up there. You know, he knows everything that the guy did. That's not what's supposed to happen. So Aliquippa Police Department is just letting them, I don't know, hug each other, do kumbaya in somebody's car. What else we got on the tail here? Yep, boom. Don't you just hate when you're laying in bed thinking about what to go get to eat? Totally. Yes. Yeah, but they're not the same people. You know that, right? Nick is not Montana, just so you know. Okay? They're not the same people. Just making sure that you know that. Yeah, well, it's my perception of that you can't fill out a report right, you're not doing your job right. I mean, we're not talking about somebody that just stole a candy bar and ran up the street. We're talking about a homicide. Okay? But we're also talking about Aliquippa Police Department is there, and what is going on from 11:42 until 12:06. What's going on? So, and then no reports. Why aren't you getting a report and getting each of those witnesses and their story? And then when the troopers get there, they can get their story again. That's what you do. You get multiple stories. That way you can see if they're being honest. I mean, it's procedures. Not a single Aliquippa police officer has wrote any report except for Lane, the police chief. He's in one report. I mean, when I say that Aliquippa does not investigate and do any of these, they do not. So that is also another thing that these cops know, that they're not going to be writing up reports. They're not going to be doing anything. So they have a window of how long until PSP would get there to do whatever the fuck they want. You know, they know that. So, again, I'm just bringing nothing but the facts. Nothing but the MF facts. But somebody that would think this through knows that, well, by the time PSP would get there, you know, think about it. Season 3 is going to blow yo minds. And then September 20th, remember, put that date down in your calendar, September 20th. Jamie, Brown, and Sheldon both in the courtroom for 2 hearings. Each of them have a hearing. Talk about what are the odds that they both are on the same day. Crazy. Hopefully 920 is our new favorite lucky number. Play that in the Pick 3 lottery. Go ahead and box that number. Yeah, there's a lot of families hurting in Aliquippa. This has been a long, it's systematic. It's sad, when certain last names are you're labeled. Really sad. So what did you decide on getting out of your refrigerator? I'm gonna have to pick out my refrigerator too. I think I'm gonna go with a. I think I'll go with some pickles. How about that? How about some pickles? Well, at least we have the right upload coming. And then during that first part there, you saw when the 4 different officers were posted, like Trello, Bits, Lane. Just so you guys know, Andrew Galletti was never dispatched there. Lives about 10 or 15 minutes away. So how he is there within 1 minute, 2 minutes of a 911 call, a dispatch. I mean, how is that possible? Let me go check this out. We are at 70%, so I do apologize, guys. I made a mistake. I hit the wrong one. So yeah, I'm gonna go with some pickles. But it should be noted, guys, that we only have 25 more minutes left of it, and then you're gonna be able to ask your questions tomorrow night in a brief Q&A that's 60 minutes. Now, Lana, he was just passing through, cough, cough, during COVID, absolutely. During COVID. I just think it's very, very interesting. I think it's episode 3 that it talks about it. When you hear about the surveillance from the church. these officers were very, very interested in making sure that they got to all the surveillance cameras. As you know, they were asking all these people, do you know who have surveillance around here? And it's just like, what? These people don't even live. Brandon Wexler doesn't live around here. He doesn't know shit. I mean, I wouldn't know who has surveillance in my neighborhood, who's got cameras and stuff. I wouldn't know that. How about go door to door and do your job? That's funny though. Yeah, so I'm gonna go with some pickles, guys. Some pickles. To hear what the cops said to Carlisha about the footage, about them not getting. Oh yeah, we talked to them. We talked to the church. They don't have it's too far north, and it's like, wait, what are you talking about? The surveillance doesn't have to be that it caught the murder on camera. It's about cars passing by and what times and stuff like that. It's wild, you guys, wild. I'm gonna sleep like a baby. We can pull over, DUIs left and right, but God forbid us be able to investigate a homicide. Like I said, you guys can be the judge. You guys actually can be the jury. Again, this was an all-white jury with the only person of any type of color or anything other than white was the juror that's under question. It's just wild. I mean, poor Sheldon. You know what I think about when I eat pickles now? I think about that magistrate in Denver saying that, all she does is flip her hair and eat pickles. Those are salty. I love pickles. Pickles anymore. I can't even enjoy pickles anymore. I can't enjoy mashed potatoes. Little Miss Crazy. I know, right? Little Miss Crazy Pants. Well, then, she called us both crazy. They just live in this crazy world. Well, I think the law says that it has to be two reasonable people. So I think you just totally contradicted yourself with that. And your live pickles too. Yep, I always eat pickles live. I heard the crunch and I knew it. I'm sorry, that's funny. Oh God. All right, guys, we got 10 more percentages. This was definitely not rushed. It's going to be very clear what this was. This was a setup. This was a unbelievable setup. And this was not orchestrated by some hem-hoes. This is, You're actually right. I don't think that anybody can say he's guilty. I think that if anything, I mean, this is going to be showing way beyond a reasonable doubt that he's not. I think it's just going to also show that this was the most inept investigation, incomplete, and so many things pointed in so many, different directions. The only thing that pointed to Sheldon was them fluffing this timeline. Ooh, I love pickled onions with potato chips. I don't even know what pickled onions are. Is that like a UK thing? So you're gonna have to enlighten me. I'm just so glad that Boston's here. I just miss her so much. That girl just gets me going. What? Okay, now we're good. We're ready, guys. We're back in business. Okay. I do apologize. Fried pickles. I've never really had one. Okay, now hold on 1 second. And Trooper McGeary noted the following, that Officer Bitts was the first officer on scene and arrived at approximately 11:43 p.m. It was immediately apparent to Officer Bitts that the individual was deceased and was observed as having multiple gunshot wounds. The Aliquippa Police Department requested the assistance of the Pennsylvania State Police in the investigation and all the responsibilities of the homicide investigation. The scene was secured by Aliquippa Police and PSP. A perimeter was set, and the Pennsylvania State Police Troop D Major Case Team was activated and responded to conduct the criminal investigation into the death of the unknown male who would later be identified as Tyric Pugh. On May 15th at approximately 11:50 p.m., Pennsylvania State Police Troop D Beaver Criminal Investigation Unit Supervisor Corporal Michael Miller was the one that contacted McGeary, advising him of the incident and assigned McGeary to respond to the scene. Just after midnight, at approximately 12:34 a.m., McGeary arrived on scene and was briefed by first responding Aliquippa officer Alex Bitts, as well as Trooper Trombetta and Trooper Smith. So, no mention of Galletti from Aliquippa and no mention of Trello from Aliquippa. McGeary observed the scene on an uphill sharp curve in the roadway of Kiehl Street. The scene was secured by police tape, police vehicles, and other emergency vehicles. Trooper Trombetta was maintaining the crime scene entry log and first responder checklist. Trooper Smith advised me, McGeary, that there are 4 individuals on the other side of the crime scene waiting to be interviewed by investigators. Trooper Smith also advised that there has been a tent placed over the deceased due to slight rainy weather conditions. And upon Smith's arrival, there was a silver van parked near the deceased body, but has since been pulled up a short distance on Kiehl Street. Officers on scene were not able to identify the deceased with the information thus far. Upon McGarry's initial approach to the scene, he observed the deceased male lying face up on Kiehl Street with his feet pointing down the hill. Multiple empty pistol shell casings were observed near the body, and the male appeared to have multiple gunshot wounds to the head. Blood was observed flowing from the body down Kiehl Street. While on scene, the 4 individuals who were later located on scene upon Aliquippa Police Department's arrival were properly identified and interviewed. Brandon, Eugene, Dwayne, and Joseph. Those interviews revealed the following. Brandon discovered the body first, but then continued up the Kiehl Street hill, where he would pick up 2 other individuals, Eugene and Dwayne. While Brandon was picking these individuals up, Joseph discovered the body and contacted 911. Brandon, Dwayne, and Eugene then returned to the scene, where they observed Joseph, where he had advised them that he had contacted 911. The scene was processed by Trooper D Forensic Services Unit on May 16, 2020. During processing, the deceased male was identified as Tyric Pugh, with an address of 127 Orchard Street, Aliquippa. Via his Pennsylvania photo identification was located in his wallet. Through investigative efforts, it was determined that Sheldon Jeter did intentionally kill Tyric Pugh. With the recommendation of the Beaver County District Attorney's Office, a criminal complaint was generated charging Sheldon Jeter with criminal homicide. Trooper Ryan Broader was a co-defendant on this charge. Please reference all the attached homicide action reports and other related documents to see how our investigation led to the arrest of Sheldon Jeter Jr. This would all have happened within 24 hours from the homicide that Sheldon Jeter Jr. was arrested.
Why were you coming to Aliquippa over this location?
Because I was actually going to go and chill, hang out, whatever you want to call it, with my buddies over there. The one is Preston, he's in the purple car, and the other one standing outside of the police line is Gene. That's his father.
Okay, so Preston and Gene live over here?
Yes.
Okay.
They live, it's 103 Moreland Street.
Okay. How long have you known Preston and Gene?
Over 10 years.
Okay. So what time do you think you left your house approximately?
Maybe 11:15, somewhere around there, I would say.
Okay.
Because I left my house, stopped at Sheets in Rochester real quick, and then after that, I was on my way over here, took 51 over here, and I got off on the exit right before the hill here.
Right.
Started coming up the hill, saw a body laying on the ground, saw blood. I didn't call 911 right away. I was still worried that, who knows, maybe the shooter could still be in the area. I immediately went up to Preston and Gene's house.
Did you call them, or you just immediately, did you make any calls when you saw the body?
No.
Okay.
I immediately drove up to their house. They happened to be on the porch. I told them, we got to call 911. There's a body, there's blood. We got in the car, we came back down here. The older gentleman that's in the van, he was already here and already called 911. That's what he told us when we got down here.
So when you said you first saw the body, I think not your exact words, but a roundabout way, you said you might have thought the shooter was still there. So did you know that the guy laying on the road was shot? Did it look like he was shot?
It looked like he was shot the way he was laying there. The amount of blood that was just rolling down the road.
Okay. When you were driving up the hill, before you saw the body, did any car pass you going the opposite way?
No.
Was anybody walking going the opposite way?
No.
Did you hear anything like gunshots? Are you familiar with gunshots?
Yes.
Okay. Did you hear anything like that?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So when you drive, you see the body, you drive up to Gene and Preston's house. Do you get out of the car and walk up to the porch, or do you yell from your car, hey?
I got out of the car, ran up onto the porch. I told him, there's a body, there's blood, we got to call the police.
Okay. So how long do you think after you initially see the body until you come back? Is
Not even 2 minutes.
Not even 2 minutes? Okay.
When you first pulled up and saw the body, did you stop and get out, or did you stay in the vehicle?
I stayed in the vehicle. I didn't get out at all.
Did you put your window down or anything to look out, or?
I had the windows down because I was, driving down the highway, getting some, actual air from outside. But, coming up and seeing this, when I, drove up the street, like I was saying, to go to tell them we had to call the police, right. I was like, nope, I'm putting the windows up.
Okay. Have you ever seen this gentleman before?
No.
No.
How often do you come over here to Preston and Gene's house?
I actually come over here very often.
Okay. And this is the route you always take?
Mm-hmm. This road, always.
Okay. When you're getting off the exit to come up the hill, did you see any cars making a right on the 51 like they were going to go towards Ambridge?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Did you see anybody standing out or along the road or out on the porch down there or anything like that?
Down there at the bottom of the hill?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
The only cars and only people that were standing down there were people actually on the main street of Aliquippa.
Franklin there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I only saw those cars there because they're always there, and I saw them driving to the exit here.
Do you remember any of those cars? Whether it be colors, shapes, anything like that?
No. They're just, they're there often, right there on the main road, Franklin.
Yeah.
Like, right where that first building is on your left.
Mm-hmm.
Those cars are always there.
Did you see anybody standing around or driving those cars? Was anybody in the car? Those cars?
I don't know if anybody was in the cars. They were a little too far away to see through the windows, but
okay.
Yeah, those are the only cars or people I saw right there on the main drag. I mean, as far as coming up the hill here to where I saw the body, no, there was no.
After Brandon Wexler was interviewed, next up was witness number 3, which was Gene.
Portland?
Okay. How long have you lived there?
About 5-6 years.
Okay. So, tonight, or not, I know it's tomorrow technically,
right.
But yesterday, last night, were you at home?
Yes.
Okay. So, kind of walk me through what happens.
Okay. Now, my son and I just got back from Sharon, PA.
Okay.
It was about 11:30. And my wife had eaten dinner, got in her shower, and was going to bed.
Okay.
My son and I stepped out on the porch, and it was, ballpark figure around midnight. And we heard multiple shots. It sounded like about 10 of them.
Could you sense like what direction they were coming from, or?
Well, we knew it was coming from this direction, but to me it sounded pretty muffled. Okay, I've been in the military, and I fired a lot of guns.
Right.
I don't know if somebody used a suppressor, and I do know that there is somebody in the neighborhood that does have one.
Who's that?
Well, I don't want to give the name because I don't want to end up like that guy.
Yeah, I understand that, but
I will say he lives up here on Shaw Street. Okay, I'll give you his first name. That's all I know, and his name is Mike. I even have a picture of the weapon that.
Is Mike a white or black guy?
He's a black guy. I was drinking vodka with him, and he showed me this gun.
You weren't drinking vodka with him tonight, were you?
No,
okay.
No.
Contain in car 2, old radio.
But wrong one. And to me, this is what it sounded like. Was.
How old do you think Mike is?
Oh, he's got to be in his 30s or 40s. He's a big guy. And to me, that's what it sounded like.
And Mike sent you this picture? Or?
I was sitting there with him. As you could see, we were drinking. And he handed it to me, let me look at it, and I just took a picture of it. This was a week ago.
All right. If we were to provide you a phone number, would you send that to us?
Yes, I would.
All right. We'll get to that. We'll put a pin in that and come back to that later. So, you said about midnight you heard multiple shots. They kind of sounded muffled. What happened after that?
Well, about 2 minutes later, he come flying up the road. Well, actually, about 10 minutes later, he come flying up the road, and he's telling us, call 911. There's a dead body in the road down here.
When you say he, I know we all
Brandon.
know Brandon.
Brandon,
Okay.
yes. And I said, okay, Brandon, let's go down and see what's going on, see if this guy actually is dead. And sure enough, we pull up, and I could see the hole in the guy's forehead. I knew he was gone.
Have you ever seen that guy before?
I'm going to tell you, he looks very familiar. He looks like a guy that used to live up here on Kiehl Street, and we knew him by the name of Ronnie.
Okay.
And he was a drug dealer.
How long ago did he stop living up here?
About a little over a year ago, him and his wife got into it, and I think she kicked him out. She moved out, and he moved down here somewhere. But I haven't seen him for a while. But like I said, that looks just like him.
So when you guys come down the hill here,
this gentleman was already stopped there.
The guy in the van?
Yes.
Do you guys get out of the car and go walk over to the body?
I walked over to the body. I didn't touch anything.
Okay.
I looked over, and I seen that he had a hole in his forehead, and I could see it in the back of his head where all the blood was draining. Mm-hmm. That it was a done deal. There's nothing I could do for him.
Did you or your son call 911? Or
we were going to call, but the man in the van already said that he had called 911.
Okay.
So we just stayed there.
Okay. Well, if we could backtrack just a little bit, after you hear the shots, do you hear any like tires screeching or anything like that? Anybody yelling? Anything?
No.
Okay.
We heard the multiple shots, and that was it. And my son and I both were like, my son looked at me and goes, "Did you hear that?" And I said, "Yeah, I heard that. It was pretty muffled, but I heard that." And we hear shots through here all the time.
Yeah.
So, it didn't really surprise me. I mean, about a week ago, my neighbor from across the street said that he heard somebody let off what sounded like an Uzi back here. So,
right. I understand. Do you know of anybody that has cameras or surveillance video along this road here? Do you know anybody that lives on this road?
I don't know anybody that lives on this road, but I do know that somebody owned this property here on the corner. Mm-hmm. And they put all that dirt there because people were constantly dumping mattresses and everything over there. So he may have cameras up there. I do not know, whoever owns it.
So are you talking about when you go around...
As you go around the bend off to the right here,
yeah,
you'll see a big berm of dirt right there. That whoever owned this property had that dump there. So it stopped people from dumping garbage back there.
Okay.
And you don't know who actually owns it?
No.
What about as you're coming up the hill there's a house that's got basically it's painted on the garage. It says no parking. It's like a red brick house right there down at the bottom of the hill. Do you know who that is?
I don't know who that is.
Okay.
I've often suspected that they had something to do with the church that's right down here. So.
Okay. So just to recap, the dead gentleman appears to be Ronnie, somebody who you knew as Ronnie, but you're not sure.
Not positive, but he looks almost like him.
And he used to live up on Kiehl Street. Mm-hmm. Mike, who lives on Shaw Street, black male in his 30s or 40s, has that gun with a suppressor on it.
Yes.
Did you see Mike at all tonight?
No. I saw him earlier today. He was in his Jeep that he usually parks up there. Him and his wife. He just did a bunch of renovation work and everything up there on his house there on Shaw Street. You can't miss it. I mean, he's got this really nice Jeep sitting there. But
is it like a Jeep Grand Cherokee or like a Jeep Wrangler?
Kind of like a Wrangler, but it looks like a Mad Spider almost. It's one of the newer models.
Okay. What color is it?
It's black.
Anything else distinctive? Does it have like custom wheels or sticker?
Yeah, it's got custom tires on it, custom wheels. Got some funky lights on the front of it that super bright, but other than that,
Like a light bar or just like...
no, the headlights itself, I mean, they're just weird.
Other than his wife, does he live with? Does he have any kids? Does he live with anybody else?
No,
Okay.
just his wife.
You may have answered this, but where is he living at?
He lives up here on Shaw Street. I don't know the exact address, but you can't miss it. I mean, you can see where he's done a bunch of renovation work on his porch, and he put a brand new retaining wall in the front.
Does Mike work anywhere? Do you know?
Not that I'm aware of.
So how's he getting all that money to do all that renovation?
Exactly. It's been rumored that he's one of the biggest drug dealers in this area. So I don't cross him.
Okay.
So you know his last name? You
No.
just don't want to... Okay.
I don't know his last name.
Okay. Do you know his wife's name?
So when you leave your house, can you see his house from your? Did you see the Jeep out in front?
No, I didn't see the Jeep out front.
Is that the only cars they have?
He's got a Jeep, his wife drives a white vehicle, and he's got a really nice blue street glide, Harley Davidson customized street glide.
Her white vehicle, is it an SUV too, or is it a car?
No, it's a regular car.
You know what? Like, is it a Chevy, Ford, Dodge?
I think it's a Dodge, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Do you have Mike's phone number?
No. I don't associate with him much. Like I said, I sat and drank with him that one night, and that's about it. We talk on the street every now and then, say, hey, how you doing? You know, that's about as far as it goes.
Okay.
Do you know who he associates with? Or who would know him a little bit better?
I know he associates with my neighbor who got busted a year ago. They raided his house because he was selling drugs.
Who's that?
His name is Chris. I don't know his last name, but he lives right next door to me. He's at 105 Moreland.
Okay. So when you went over that one time to Mike's house, what'd you guys talk about? Was it just BSing?
Just BSing. Sitting there drinking vodka, you know, talking about women, talking about, yeah, I know it's funny because his wife was there too. She wasn't too happy about it. But, you know, just everyday stuff. And then he pulled that out and he showed it to me. I was like, oh, that's cool. He pulled the clip out and handed it to me. I took a couple pictures of it.
Okay. All right.
If you could,
You could just forward that.
Unset Secrets, Advocating in Aliquippa, Season 3, sponsored in part by Fight for a Family, nonprofit, www.fightforafamily.com. That is www.fight, the number 4, the letter A, family, family.com. Also, YouTube page, Truth and Transparency. All right, guys, I'll be back on Tuesday night to answer these questions, but really quick, Gene is Preston's dad. And so the reason that he ever even mentions the name Mike is only because he heard the gunshots. They sounded muffled. It sounded like a suppressor was used, and he had just, held a gun with a suppressor on it. So it wasn't like But again, thank you guys. Episode 2 next Sunday night. Sunset Secrets is Sunday night. So Tuesday nights is the follow-up Q&A. It's members only with the Q&A. So consider being a member. And this is some shady shit. You're damn right it is. And you guys, I'm just getting warmed up. I'm telling you, this series is legit. Right here off to the left, though, that is Two Cousins building right there to the left. I know it's an old-time school picture, but that's the building. That's that convenience store right there. So Gene and Preston live up the hill. That is the home that Brandon was going to when he was scared of the dark. Yes, that is exactly right. But each one of these witnesses gets broken down during and throughout the episodes. But anyways, that is this. That's the case. Is that is this time frame, and it's about narrowing down this timestamp because, as you will see, that's the only thing that's tying in their minds Sheldon to this case is, oh my God, he was pulling away just, minutes after this had happened. Really? Well, let's see what Lana thinks about that. So again, hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, I think there's I'd take us all the way up and until the holidays. I'd take a break over the holidays, and then it closes out on my birthday. So again, thank you guys for your support, and nothing but love to quit. Till next time, guys, tomorrow night, come with your questions if you got any. But I also break down the episode as well. So that's what I do is I go through and I point things out. So again, take care. Thank you, mods.